Aloha, everyone. My name is Cecilia, and I'm your orientation leader for today's session with the Office of Veteran Student Services. Before we get started, I'll be covering some housekeeping items for today's webinar. First, you should be able to hear me clearly. If you can't, please note that in the chat so we can try and help you. Some simple fixes include connecting your audio on the Zoom window, turning up your computer volume, or using external headphones. Second, please utilize the Q&A function if you have any questions for the presenters or about what was shared. For most sessions, all questions will be saved for the end of the presentation. Additionally, participants in the chat are asked to be respectful of others and stay focused on the topic of the webinar so those with questions can be easily seen. Finally, after the session, we will be uploading the recording of this webinar to the Visit Days platform in the video section. All recordings will have closed captioning. Now I would like to welcome and introduce today's presenter, Mr. James Solano. With that, I'll turn over the presentation to Mr. Solano.
Hey, aloha, everyone. Thanks for joining our presentation today. As I said, I'm with the Office of Veteran Student Services. A little bit about me. I'm a 26-year Army retired E7, Sergeant First Class in the Army. I retired out of the University of Hawaii ROTC program, Army ROTC, and I've been working here for about 18 months now and absolutely love doing this job and helping out our veterans and military connected students. It's my contact information. If you have any questions, I'll give you a second to write that down. So you can see, take a second, you can read over our mission statement, but it's enhancing, we're really committed to enhancing the veteran and military connected student experience and supporting you on campus. We have a lot of resources that we can get you connected to. As you'll find out, we don't actually handle the VA paperwork, but we can get you through the paperwork process and get it turned into the right office so that you can get your benefits started. So our on-campus resources, of course, my office, our office email is ovss@hawaii.edu, and our phone number is listed. And we have a Veteran Success on Campus counselor, the Veteran Readiness and Employment. If you're a veteran and you have a service-connected disability, you may be able to qualify for that entitlement. So Ms. Higa at selena.higa@va.gov, you can ask her questions related to that. So if you have a workplace disability, you may be able to get up to another 48 months of schooling paid for through that program on top of the GI Bill that you've also accumulated. Our Veterans Integration to Academic Leadership Counselor, Dr. Kwan, so she provides on-campus mental health support to veterans that have a VA disability rating. Some of the campus resources that we have a Veterans Lounge, which is located in Saunders Hall, room 222. We have 3 computers and 2 printers in there that you're able to use. You can book appointments to go in right now. Due to our social distancing, we're taking appointments only. There's study areas in there that you can use, and you can just go in there, sit down, do your homework, or you can work on the computers. It's also another place where you can get connected to other military connected students or veteran students. Our Kukua is services for students with disabilities. So if there's any special requirements that you need for classes, extended testing time, or any other issues you may have, you can talk to Kukua and see how they can help you out to enhance your time there in those classes. We have Online Learning Academy, which is free tutoring sessions, financial aid, student parents at Manoa, spam. So if you are an older student like myself and you have children and maybe you're looking for others to connect to, you can come into spam, and they have a lot of resources they can help you with, and they have weekly gatherings and Zooms that they do. We have a Women's Center, academic and personal support for the success of women and the LGBT students at UHM. We do Vet Talk. I'll be putting out the new dates for this fall. We do it the 2nd and 4th Mondays of each month. And we just sit there for an hour from 3 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time to 4, and we just talk story. It doesn't have to be about school. It doesn't have to be about benefits. It's just, how's your week going? How's your day going? your favorite places to eat here, whatever you're watching on Netflix, whatever it is. It's just a time to sit there and just relax and get away from the school and the rigors of school at that time. So very brief PowerPoint presentation that I have. Let's see, go back to. Hey, Cece, can you help me get out of sharing? Sorry.
To stop screen sharing, there should be.
Oh,
Oh.
There it goes.
I got it. I got it. Well, thank you so
Thanks.
much, James.
So I want to get to the important part because everyone has questions about what we really offer or how we can help you out. So just looking at slides doesn't do much. I'm not big into death by PowerPoint, but the question and answer to the big part. So what do you guys have?
Well, let's start off with, I have a couple questions prepared just while our participants get comfortable and adding in their questions. Again, you can add in your questions through the Q&A box or through the chat. We've opened the chat today. So if you want to submit a question anonymously, you can submit it through the Q&A and just click the button that says submit anonymous. And then we won't see who submitted it, but I will note that there's no bad questions here. We welcome all questions to be able to assist you as much as possible. But let's get just started with some easy questions here, James. So what is some of the top reasons why a student would want it or would need or want to come to your office for assistance?
The biggest thing that we answer questions on a daily basis is VA benefits. How do I start my GI Bill? What am I entitled to through the GI Bill? Who do I send the paperwork to? So that's probably the three biggest things that we get questions on daily.
And I think because I had to deal with it a little bit because my spouse is also in the military. So I know a little bit about it and I know that it can be a tricky process. So are there some tips or any sort of things that you would advise incoming students on using those benefits to kind of get started off on the right foot?
So if you know you're coming in and you know you're going to use benefits, get them started as early as possible because it's about 8 to 10 weeks to get full benefits started. So if you start beginning of August and school starts 23 August, then you're looking at an 8 to 10 week turnaround to get your first payment. So then we're looking probably mid-October, you getting your first payment. Now you will get back paid for that, but if you're depending on that stipend, that monthly stipend to pay bills or your rent or your car note, or you need it for food, then you need to get the benefits started as early as possible.
Mm-hmm. And I remember I visited OVSS a couple times and I had a really great time because I feel like, and I don't know if this is still the case, James, where there were some students who worked in your office that also were military connected students. And so that was really great to see that connection there. Now, if somebody was interested in working with OVSS, do you have positions available? Are you looking for anybody currently?
So we are actually in the process of hiring our new VA work study staff for the fall. There's still positions open. You've got to be full-time student utilizing a GI Bill benefit, whether it's chapter 31, 33, 35. So as long as you're doing that, then you're eligible to work for us. And what it is, you can work up to 25 hours a week. We pay the minimum wage here, I think, is $10.10 an hour. And you can work in our Veterans Lounge. You can work here in my office. Or if you're not comfortable coming back to campus yet, I can give you assignments that you can work on at home. So maybe you're building flyers for us or you're working on our social media platforms, but you can also do it from home. And you'll still accumulate your hours each week. The hours are flexible because you are a student first, so we work around your schedule. That's why we have so many students, so that we make sure all of our shifts are scheduled.
That sounds great, James. Thanks for sharing that, because I know we get a lot of questions from our student attendees asking about opportunities. There's a couple questions that have come in. So we had a question through the chat that says, when does the VA receive their proof of enrollment and the courses once they've submitted all the necessary papers to UH Manoa?
So I can't give you a definite timeline. Our certifying officials downstairs in the registrar's office are working hard right now. The problem is there's 3 of them down there and they handle about 900 veteran students. So that's why I'm saying it's an 8 to 10 week turnaround right now from the time everything gets turned in to the time you get your first payment. So it's once you turn everything in and they've received it, it's a waiting game, and it's just really rough right now.
So working ahead, getting stuff done as soon as you can so that it can go on the rest of the process is really good tip, it sounds like,
Yeah.
to do that. Now, if they are concerned about maybe it's been 8 weeks, they don't really know where it is there any way to check on that progress? Is there different steps that they can check on?
So 2 things they can do. They can email our certifying officials and ask for a status update, and they can call the VA hotline. They can check on the status if anything's been sent up yet. So the VA hotline will tell you, oh, well, we've received all this paperwork from the school. You're good. We're just waiting on payment. Or they'll be like, oh, we haven't received this yet. We're still waiting on this piece of paperwork. And then our certifying officials can tell you, oh, we've got everything processed. It's bundled. We just haven't, it's waiting to be sent to VA. So it just depends which source you're going to go to.
Okay. So that's a good tip too, is that you can check in at 2 different places if it's been a little bit, that there is a chance to check in. Because, sometimes with certain programs, there's no way to check in. So that's really nice that they can kind of do that. Now, there are some questions that came into the Q&A. The first one is, can you talk a little bit, James, about the vet community or military connected community on campus? What is it like for military connected students, and what does that campus environment look like for them?
So for us, we have our lounge and we have my office, and I think we have a very good relationship here. We try to reach out, we try to work with other organizations on campus to spread our word and to let everyone know that we're here and what we can offer. And we welcome all the veteran students in, we welcome all the military connected students in, because veterans are a little bit different. We tend to find each other and we're more comfortable with each other because we speak the same language, I guess you would say. So I think we have a very strong community here. And with COVID, Zoom didn't do a lot for most of the veteran students. Zoom was okay, but having the face-to-face back this fall, I think is really going to reinforce our relationships and really make us stronger on campus this fall.
Great. What about, are there any vet scholarships available for military connected students or veterans?
So there is a Veterans Foundation scholarship that's on our website, and you can apply for it.
Is there a difference in services depending if somebody is a veteran versus retired versus just military connected? Is there a difference in that?
So veteran, retired, the mil connected. So the veterans, the difference with the services would be our VRNE counselor, the Veterans Readiness Employment. You have to be a veteran with a service connected disability, and as well with our mental health counselor. You have to be a veteran with a VA rated disability. Other than those 2, all the rest of the services are pretty much open to everyone, and we try to get anyone that needs those services help.
Okay. And with the move with online classes and now hybrid classes and things like that, is there anything that people should know regarding their benefits and the registration in any of those types of classes?
Okay, so that's a big one. So they're still going off of, if you're totally online, as long as you have one C19 or H19 coded course, you're still considered on campus and you'll receive full BAH stipend for whether you're full-time, 3/4 time, half-time. But you have to have one of those courses, coded courses, in your class schedule.
That's good. I think that's a key piece too. And that was a little bit of a change, right? Once COVID started, because before if you
Yeah.
were online only, that would affect your BH stipend. But now with COVID-19, there's an adjustment, a temporary adjustment, I'm guessing, for that.
Right. So as we move back to more on campus, and I don't know how long, it's up to the VA to decide how long they're gonna keep this rule up. But as we move to more on campus, I'm sure it'll go back away where you've got to have that actual on campus classroom course again. But for right now, they're still maintaining, as long as you have that coded course, we're fine.
Okay. And there's a question in here. What happens if my benefits don't process in time for the due date of tuition? Will they have to cover the cost before it processes, or will there be some sort of waiver, knowing that
Yeah,
these benefits are coming?
so they'll put a hold on the account, and there's a code in the system that says you're waiting on the GI Bill or the veterans benefit to pay your tuition. So they're not going to kick you out of classes. They're not going to drop you from school or anything. They're just waiting on the VA to pay your tuition.
Okay.
I've never seen anyone get kicked out of school for the VA being late on tuition.
Okay. And kind of connecting a previous question, how do scholarships impact the GI Bill at all, or how you receive your tuition funding at all?
So talking with the certifying officials, so what they'll do is they'll apply. So financial aid gets applied first, and then your scholarships get applied, and then the GI Bill, the VA, gets applied to your account. And so after financial aid or scholarships paid off, and then VA pays whatever's off, if there's still a positive balance, then that comes back to the student.
Okay. And if a student wants to, say they have GI Bill and they have that stuff and the benefits that come along with that, and they wanted to, make additional money, whether it be, merit, is it possible to do that with merit scholarships? Because, sometimes students get like refunds back to their account. Is that possible with GI Bill or no?
So are you saying like, so for the fall, say I've got financial aid, and then I have my VA benefits paying for my tuition, correct? So they're going to apply my financial aid first.
Okay.
And then when VA pays, if there's any balance left over, it comes back to me.
Oh, okay.
Does that answer the question?
Yes, that's perfect. Okay, thank you. All right. And is there a military connected club?
So that's what we're trying to get started this fall, because COVID wiped us off of campus. So it was really hard to maintain, but we have two clubs. We have Student Veterans of America, University of Hawaii chapter, and we have the PAVE program, which is Peer Advisors for Veterans in Education. And we're trying to use our VA work studies to start to kickstart those two programs this fall. So the SVA is a national program, which is they're the reason we got the COVID exceptions for online schooling. I mean, they went to Congress, they fought for it, they fought for the benefits, and they're a big reason why we have that C-19 and H-19 right now. And then our peer advisor program is, it's just any incoming veteran students that want to do peer advisors come in, and in the spring when we get our new transfer students in, or we got new students arriving, they partner up with them. And then they're just like, okay, here's how you transition from your old school or from the military onto University of Hawaii. I've been through this process, and here's what you need to do. And we're trying to just make it a much more seamless transition for them by having those peer advisors.
Thank you for sharing that. And you said there's about 900 military connected on campus. Is that right?
Military connected veteran students, there's usually between 800 and 900. So
wow.
We'll stay in between those two numbers.
Yeah. And how active are those individuals, would you say, in working with your office, working on campus, things like that? Is there a good community where our new incoming students kind of can bring in and connect with those people?
So we've got, there's always a core group, about 20, 30 students that are always doing stuff, but we're trying to bring everyone in. A lot of students don't even know we exist. So I'm glad we do these programs. Again, thank you for having me here, because a lot of veterans come on campus and don't know we have a veterans lounge. They don't know that my office is up here, or, they don't know some of the resources we have for them. So, we're really trying to get more tabling out. We're going to get out. We're going to do more outreach on campus and really get our programs out there so we can really build a strong veteran community here.
And while we wait for any other questions from our attendees to flow in, James, I did have a request first by somebody for you to reintroduce yourself and your service background. So would you mind reintroducing that and telling us a little bit more about yourself?
Sure. So James Solano, I'm a retired Army veteran. I joined the Field Artillery in 6 November of 1990. Yeah, that was a bit ago. And then I retired 30 November of 2016. I was very lucky to have great duty stations. I was in Berlin, Germany. I went to Fort Lewis, Washington. I was in Korea. I did recruiting in Los Angeles. I went to Alaska. I did time in Iraq. I was a observer controller trainer at Camp Shelby, Mississippi. And then I got to finish up here as a ROTC instructor with the Army ROTC here on University of Hawaii. So very lucky. Married, met my wife in a math class at Fort Lewis, Washington. We've been married just over 22 years. Got 2 daughters. I got a 2-year-old grandson right now, all here on the island with us, still hanging on to home, but absolutely love it. I mean, couldn't ask, if you had asked me 30 years ago, would I believe I would be retired in Hawaii, I'd have thought you'd be crazy, but we've been here just over 8 years and no plans of leaving.
And the reason why I think it's great that you reintroduce yourself too is because, at least from the small amount that I've interacted with you, it feels like those types of histories are very informative to our military connected students. They want to kind of have this understanding of where you're coming from, what your background is, and things like that. So I will invite the attendees, if you feel comfortable, to enter in the chat maybe how you're connected in this military connected community, and maybe what branch, if you want to share that, or any sort of information that you feel like you want to share.
Absolutely.
And if you don't want to share it publicly, you can just send it to the host and panelists, and we would not tell anybody who it was. Or maybe what program you're starting here at the university, whether you're a graduate or undergraduate student, and what major. And James has shared his email address. So that is ovss@hawaii.edu. So if you need connections on any of the information that James has shared with us today, we invite you to reach out, right, to ovss@hawaii.edu. And his office is located in the Queen Liliuokalani Center, and that is Suite 310. The Queen Liliuokalani Center is right, I guess it's on Upper Campus, and if you're looking at, we're around Varney Circle. So if you go towards the middle of Upper Campus, there's a fountain that's not often turned on. There's a fountain right in the center, and then Queen Liliuokalani Center is behind that. And most of our student services are there. So you have the registrar, the cashier's office, financial aid, and then of course, veteran student services are on the 3rd floor in 310. But if you can't reach them, then James, do you use any other virtual communications besides your email? Is it phone or Star Balance or anything else that you prefer communication wise?
Oh, we use, I got to look for the phone number. I haven't used it in so long. It's been ever since we've been back. So I just got back in the office a few weeks ago. So we've been out of the office for about 18 months with COVID. So I'm gonna have to peek at the phone number real quick. Okay. So don't feel sorry about that.
That's okay. And you know what? If you go to the main Manoa website, and this is a tip too for all incoming students, if you go to the main Manoa website and in the search bar, just put whatever you're looking for. So I'm going to put Office of Veteran Student Services. And the
You can
very
Google
first,
OVSS Manoa and it'll pull our
Right.
whole website up.
the very first response in the search is going to be this office. So really encourage you to really actively use that search page because it really does work quite well. So the phone number, it looks like, is 956-2192.
There you go. 2192.
And so that is good. It does say, and I would understand what this would be too. It says that appointments are preferred, and I'm guessing that's because of the setup of the office, right? That it's best that if people make appointments so that if you're talking about confidential things or things like that, that there's not too many people in the office at once. Is that
So
right?
we right now we're preferring appointments just because of social distancing
Okay.
and that's what's being asked of us. But if you're on campus, feel free to come up and knock on the door. I mean, we don't have that many face-to-faces right now. A lot of them are still asking for Zoom appointments. So just knock on the door. We'll bring you in. We'll talk to you. We'll see how we can help you, or we show you around a little bit if you're new to campus. So just stop in and say hi.
Perfect. And I will, just reiterate that too. I think that there's not very many more offices as welcome as Veteran Student Services. Every time I've had to walk in, I get met with like 3 or 4 smiling faces. So I would only reiterate that this office is truly one that if you need assistance or you need to start, go ahead and just give it a try, go up there, see if they can help you, or not, reach out and schedule an appointment for that. So would reiterate that for sure. Well, we are out of questions, it looks like, James. We've had some great conversation. I really appreciate you having us here today and speaking to our incoming students about Veteran Student Services and military connected students. I appreciate that. I'm going to turn it over to Cece for our closing.
Okay.
Thank you all for joining us today for this presentation. We hope you gained some useful information. If you have any other questions or concerns, please email your orientation leader or the nrwo@hawaii.edu email. As mentioned before, this webinar will be published on the NSO platform, so please visit that page for the recording as well as links or documents mentioned by today's guest. Mahalo.